in that I'm actually going to do a bit of a review of what we've been getting up to. So when I watched back the video from the end of April, I was actually surprised at how much we've got done and how much we've accomplished. And I just wanted to show you what a difference a month can make. So grab a cup of tea and let me take you around. So before it gets too hot, I thought we could start in the polytunnel, because I do believe this is probably where we've seen the biggest change. So a month ago, hopefully if you've seen those videos you'll have seen that actually we were having a clear out of here and we moved the racking to next to the door, and I sort of mapped out where I wanted the tomatoes. However, we hadn't ordered the halos at this point in time, I don't believe. But now we have got them, I realised that the spacing wasn't going to be right, so we needed to move everything around. So we've got the halos, we've got these planted in. They are so much bigger than they were. So the purpose of the halos is obviously to help with the watering, so we fill them up sort of halfway with water every evening, and then that over time is then seeping into the ground and giving them sort of what they need. We'll do the same hopefully soon with Tomarite, give them a bit of a feed. But in the last month, they have absolutely shot up. And actually, if you look, we've got some flowers on there. Please do excuse the shadows. It's very early morning. But yeah, we've got some flowers popping up. So hopefully that means we're going to get tomatoes. So I do sort of shake them, all the plants, just gently for 10 seconds every day, just to sort of help with the pollinating and hopefully get some more tomatoes. What we've also done over the last month is then also get the chilies in. So I didn't put halos on here mainly because of, one, I didn't have enough, and two, spacing. So we've also got the chilies and the various peppers in as well. I've given the bottom leaves a bit of a trim, but again, these are other plants that probably when we put them in the ground, they were only 2 inches high, and now they are shooting up. We also have the vines, so the one on the right is the one that I'm hoping to keep to my mother. However, I do think I've overwatered it slightly, which is why it's yellowing, but you can actually see new growth on both of them. They both seem to be doing pretty well, so we will keep our eye on that, and then hopefully when lockdown finishes and I can actually get to see my mum, I can take the one on the right up to Yorkshire. And then if we move over to here, so we've got the radishes which are probably due to be picked on the top left. We've also got some mint coming through. So this was before we bought the mint at the garden centre, because I hadn't been having much luck with the mint that we were sowing. This one's now starting to take off. We've also got the spider on my arm. We've also got the leeks, which are these ones here, all popping up. And then we've got some basil. So I only repotted that on the other day. Oh, it smells beautiful when you're repotting that one on. And then if we come down a level, so we've got some more of the leeks. So the ones above, they are the spares. If these ones don't do too well, what we're doing is obviously waiting for these to be as thick as a pencil, and then we can plant them out. And then these are the spares of the cucumbers, courgettes, squashes and pumpkins, because it is always a good idea to have spares. Coming down another level, so these are the peas, which seem to be doing pretty well. It won't be long and I'll be taking them home with me to plant them out in the garden at home, mainly because I have run out of room in the allotment. I don't know how I've done that, but I have. And then here are our spares of sweet corn. So if you remember in the first weekend May video, these were only 2 inches high, and these are still the smaller, sorry about the noise, these are still the smaller of the ones that we've planted out, where as you can see, they're absolutely, they've shot up. They're doing really, really well. As we come out the polytunnel, we've obviously got our little nature area here. So on the last weekend in April, we seeded this all up and we put some of the plants out. Now, not all of them, but most of the plants anyway, because these cosmos, they were too small, so these were only probably, what, ½ an inch high. But since then, obviously, they've shot up. We've managed to get them out, and they're all sort of taking shape. We also then scattered some seeds that I got on my hen do, and mixed them in with some others as well. And again, these have just sort of taken over, which is great, and we're starting to actually get some buds in here, so hopefully we will get some pretty flowers soon. And then the same with the cornflowers, so we've potted a few out and then we've added some more in, and the dahlias all sort of seem to be taking shape as well. And on top of all this, we've obviously put the little fountain in, so we do keep changing the heads because it is still getting blocked, because there is still quite a bit of dirt in there, but at the minute. It's just quite nice to have that little trickling noise when you haven't got the builders doing whatever they're doing. It sounds like they're digging a road up. So if we start this end, just because obviously the sun's ahead and it means that I haven't got a shadow, we did obviously seed this up, so it should have wildflowers in. However, they don't seem to have taken, but we have got numerous numbers of buttercups, which are equally beautiful, so we've left them be. But if we sort of move our way up, so this bed on the left here, so this is the herb garden. I can't remember how many herbs were in there. I think it might have just been the parsley a month ago. But as you can see, we've now got a number of plants in there. So we've got obviously rosemary, chives, we've got a chocolate mint, a thyme, and a curry plant. The oregano hasn't taken, which is a bit of a shame. So hey, might pop back up to that nice little garden nursery that we found and buy another one of those. And then on the right, so this is broccoli. Yes. So again, these were sort of looking a bit weak and feeble, but then we've planted them out. I don't know if you can see there, but they are definitely doing extremely well. Really, really healthy. I don't think it'll be long before we're taking the netting off. Then moving down to next, so this is obviously one of our more recent beds. These are the pumpkins that we've put out in the hopes that they will stop looking so yellow. Sean, bless him, we went around yesterday and sort of firmed them in a bit more because they seem to keep walking. But hopefully in their new home they'll be pretty happy. Then on the left, so these are the courgettes. I mean, look at the size of them, and a couple of these are already starting to get some flowers on them as well, as in the buds, not actual flowers. And then we've got another one at the end that was seeded at a later date, so that's why it's a bit smaller. It does mean that hopefully it'll stagger it a bit. So moving on, so these are obviously arena beans. So a month ago the frame was there, and we put some seeds into the ground in the hope that they would take. A few of them have taken, but most of these have all actually come from plants that we seeded up in a tray inside the polytunnel and then planted them out. And as you can see, they're just starting to walk their way up, and we do keep sort of tying them in. And then same on this side, so obviously we've got the peas. So these were all planted direct, as in seeds direct. Not, again, too sure why it's a bit thinner this end to that end. But they are starting to grow and they're working their way up. And again, we're starting to get a couple of flowers, which hopefully means that we will be getting some peas soon. And they are mange too. Then this bed is meant to be the lettuce and Swiss chard. So we've tried lettuce a couple of times and not had much luck. No idea why. But we're planting it direct outside. As you can see, we're having an absolute whale of a time here. Now obviously we do want to stagger this, so hopefully soon I'll be seeding up some more if I ever actually remember to bring the seeds to the allotment. And in the middle there was meant to be Swiss chard, so we've got some little bits popping up that we think could possibly be Swiss chard, but it could also be a weed at the same time. So we're just sort of being mindful and going to watch and see what that does. And then over here on the right, so this is our cucumbers. Again, they seem to be sort of flourishing. They're enjoying this heat and all the watering that they're getting every evening. And like I say, on top of the watering, we are coming up and scattering chicken manure to give everything a bit of a feed. Bit slower than the courgettes, but they're getting there. And then if I move up to this end of the bed, so what we've done is, so this one is still empty. This will hopefully eventually have the leeks in, but at the end we've planted some flowers and we've put them at the end of the sweet peas as well, just to sort of help give us a little bit more of a border between us and next door. So if I look at the sweet peas before I come back, so anyone that's sort of been watching us on Instagram, hopefully you'll know that I have the worst luck ever with sweet peas. So people, bless them, they have been giving me a bit of advice on what to be doing, when to be planting out, etc. And this is the result. I mean, look at them. And this isn't all the sweet peas. We have actually been picking them and taking them home, because obviously the more you pick, the more they grow. So every day when I come up, if all the buds have gone on one of the flowers, I am picking them and they are just doing so well. I do need to sort of come through and tie them all up again. Then we've got the strawberries. So about a month ago we put the cover on them, because obviously we didn't want the birds getting at them, because they are quite young plants. But again, they seem to be thriving. They're doing well. We have lost a couple, which is sort of to be expected. But we've come through, we've sort of put the straw underneath because a few of them are actually producing strawberries now. And Sean and I did try the strawberries the other day and they were absolutely beautiful. So I cannot wait for the years to come as they get more established and we get more strawberries off them. Then at the back here we do obviously have our raspberries. Now the raspberry canes, sadly, they haven't really taken. We only have one that seems to have done so, which is this one here. And as you can see, just ignore the weeds in the background, but we are actually starting to get some raspberries. So again, this is their first year, so we're going to be sort of a bit wary of them, but hopefully as time goes on, this one will do alright. And what the plan is to do is to actually take the rest of them out and we'll just feed and look after the ground for the year, and then next year we will plant some more in and see how we get on with that. Then if we turn around and go back towards the polytunnel, so please do excuse the shadow if you can see it. So these obviously are the squash, so these were all planted at the same time. No idea why the first two aren't doing as well as the one at the back, but they are doing exceptionally well. Again, bit of the feed, keeping on top of the weeds. We've pulled the cover back just to sort of try and give them a bit more direct light, and actually they do seem to be appreciating that a bit more. In the last sort of 48 hours these two have perked up by not being covered, so might leave that offer for a bit longer. Then next to them, so it was only a month ago that we were actually planting this up with the onion sets that we've been preparing at home. And if I come down here and sort of just knock the soil a bit, you can actually see that they're starting to take. So hopefully, gosh, you can feel how strong they are as well. But hopefully we'll have some decent onions. Don't forget that they're white and red. And then the last thing that we've sort of done this month is obviously put the sweet corn in. So as I've showed in the tunnel, there is a couple in there still that are sort of a bit more less developed maybe. But we put the stronger ones out. They're all obviously 45 centimetres apart, so then we can get the wind going through it in its sort of grid-like formation. But hopefully they will do all alright as well. So that's our allotment. Like I say, it is a bit sort of, when you're coming up every day, you don't sort of appreciate the amount of change that we've been getting. But actually when you sort of sit and watch the videos back, this has just been a lovely way to document it and see how much it's changed. Because if you think about it, we only sort of took this on at the beginning of March, and 2 months on, this is where we are. So I hope you're enjoying these videos. Please don't forget to like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to sort of get notifications of when we post the next one up. But thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all soon. Take care everyone. Bye.